Somewhere over the rainbow way up high, there's the land that I heard of once in a lullaby.
I got involved after my service on the board of Dogwood, which is just a few steps from my home. And I answered the phone, and I was asked to attend a meeting of the planning committee. There was just one item on their agenda. They wanted to formulate ideas of how best to approach City Council in asking for a place to grow their fun and friendship. In the past studies, we found social contact was most important. The feeling was their time to move from one room. In April of 2005, the announcement was made that the city and Boza Developments had come to a joint agreement to build this center as part of a large residential development, which was planned 30-some years ago.
An office downstairs, you want to call it that. They call it fondly known as the wood box. Simon, you know about that. It was put up by the city, and it was used for just minor woodworking and people that want to, the handyman that want to do some make some gadgets here and there. And the reason they called it the wood box, very appropriately, is because it was about as small as a box, right? So it was a tough time getting that program continued on because it just wasn't enough space and the ventilation wasn't there. So there's so many times that we had to open the door to get some air. And so all the dust went all over the reception area and everywhere. So needless to say, I guess maybe one of the reasons why that is no longer in existence, but I do have very fond memories of doing some work there. And
so when the society moved here, of course, all the activity groups found new space, and most groups increased their number of participation, and the support groups who contribute so much to seniors' well-being had a regular meeting place. Now, not all activities succeeded. We had to close the woodworking room because it could simply not compete with Dogwood's amazing wood workshop. And also the snooker room closed for lack of attendance, and it was so great to see that the board agreed to give the tables to the youth centers. What a great gesture, because they were very expensive tables and fundraising was done for them, and in the end they went to the youth centers, which was just fabulous.
At this point, I'd like to introduce Mayor Richard Stewart, and if he would care to provide a few comments on behalf of the city.
This is a unique facility, as is Dogwood, and I'm so proud that Coquitlam embraces the kinds of recreational activities that people 50 plus want to participate in, the kind of camaraderie we get here, the kind of lunch that I can have across the street from my office. And so I take my hat off to a succession of predecessors, a succession of mayors and councils that have supported this. Mayor Lou Sikora, who was mayor at the time when the first facilities were started to be talked about, including the one at Town Center Park, which at the time actually was waterfront because the puddles in the parking lot were enormous. I remember that facility and the next facility, which was a joint facility, another unique partnership between School District 43, the City of Coquitlam, and Douglas College. And served its needs for quite some time until we started to hear rumblings in the early part of this millennium about it's not big enough and it's not enough and we got to do more, and city center is getting to be something. And I wasn't on council at the time, I was actually an MLA at the time, and I got nagged by some people repeatedly about the possibility of getting some provincial funding to help the city create this facility that they were talking about down here. And I managed to get, one of many opportunities to bring millions of dollars in a check to your riding, but I was honored to be able to bring a multi-million-dollar check from the province to help jumpstart this. It wasn't my money, so don't give me credit. But I know, talking to the staff and some of the people that were involved at the time, that was one of the elements that came together. But mostly it was a city council of the day that was pretty passionate about getting this done. So I'll take my hat off to that council, Mayor John Kingsbury and his council. And the council after that, the one that actually I joined, I was a councillor in 2005 to 2008. I was Mayor Maxine Wilson and her council that oversaw the last days of the construction and the grand opening of this facility in 2008. There's a few other people I want to thank. Brian Robinson, who actually was part of some of those councils as well, and has served in public life and served his community for so many decades. Thank you very much for all your work. And I shouldn't have started because now I'm going to be mentioning some people but not mentioning some others. But great to see Helga back. Helga said she misses this place. Well, this place misses you. And it's great to see Tom Crawshaw. Tom and I started with the city about the same time. I ended up in a dead-end temp job at City Hall, but he went on to become great within the city and to retire with a pension, which is something I won't get either. So Tom and various other people that worked for the city and who really helped develop the vision that we have here. Most of you are too young probably to remember opening day 10 years ago. But it was a spectacular day to open a facility that I think has become a vitally important part of our community. It was on opening day, and it was before that, but now this facility is home, second home to so many people, and I get to see some of you spending long hours during the day among the other, what did you call them? Old farts, did you say? So on behalf of Coquitlam City Council, on behalf of the City of Coquitlam, all of our residents, thank you very much for having us. Congratulations to Glen Pine Pavilion on its 10th anniversary. I have one other thing to do. Joan Isaacs actually couldn't make it today, so she called me and asked me to pass on her regrets and her sentiment, but also to present a certificate in honor of the decade of service that Glen Pine Pavilion has done. So this is from the province of British Columbia, the Legislative Assembly, in celebration of a decade of service connecting the community. And if I can get, there we go. Thank you. And that's Linda, that's Joan's constituent assistant, and there's a letter and probably a massive check. So just measure it according to the standards of the previous MLA.
Thank you very much, Mayor Stewart. We really appreciate your being here and all of the efforts the city goes into to make sure that this continues to be an active, vibrant center for seniors and for people 50 plus. Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to ask Lil if she would like to have all of her singers come up. I think they've got a few songs for us, and if you'd like to come up and
For you mean to say? You're sincerely wasting away. Give me an answer, fill in a form. I'm forevermore. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me? When I'm 64? When I'm 74?